Welcome, everyone, to the Purpose for Life podcast. I'm so excited to be here with you today. I'm Suzanne Roberts, author of It's Deeper Than That. And today we are so fortunate to have with us Will Lukang, who's an extraordinary leader who's evolved into an entrepreneur, has books, and we get to hear from Will today. So thank you so much for being here, Will.
Thank you, Suzanne, for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation. I'm really excited.
Me too. Me too. I'm excited for people to get to know you and to learn from your life experiences. And what I'd like you to start with is where you started working, how you saw leadership, which invited you to evolve as a leader. And will you share that evolution as a leader yourself?
Very tough question, but I'll start with when I was young. My parents had a convenience store, and I worked for my dad. And I saw and observed what leadership was like. I didn't know that was called leadership, but it's the way my father conduct himself, how he lead the people that he worked with, how he worked alongside them. And often I would say, you're the owner and you're carrying the goods, just like when they're carrying the goods. Why would you need to do that? He said, well, it's not that because I'm the owner that if I could help, why am I not helping them? If I help them, we get the job done quickly. And he always tells me too that don't judge the book by its cover. Even though someone doesn't dress nicely, you shouldn't be treated them differently. And oftentimes he get mistreated because working in the store, your shirt gets dirty, your pants get dirty, and people look at you differently and speak to you differently. They think you have no money when you're trying to buy something. So that was my first uh, exposure to leadership. But my career started as a software developer. I was born and raised in the Philippines. I started my career as software developer because I learned that I really loved programming in high school and then in college. And then my first opportunity to lead a team was when I got promoted a year and a half into my career. My manager promoted me to be the team lead. And at that point, I was given the opportunity to lead other people. However, I didn't really know how to lead people. You go from being friends one day and the next day you're the manager.
But
And
can we
that
just pause for just a second? How that happens to so many people, where they're good at something and then they get promoted to another level without being trained into that other level or being taught how do you then deal with the differential in relationships. So thank you for saying that. Now you can keep going. Thank you.
and it actually went from excitement and being so proud to nightmare the next day because I didn't know how to deal with my teammates as I tried to become their manager. Some of them were upset. They thought they should be the one to get promoted. And I struggled for a few months trying to balance between delivering the work because you're still responsible for delivering the work. Meanwhile, you also have to learn about the human dynamics and learn how to work with them. So that period was challenging, but I took it as an opportunity for myself to learn and grow. And I guess that was the very first moment that I said to myself that I want to learn to lead and serve other people. So I think that's about the time that I realized that okay, in order for you to be a leader, in order for you to have the opportunity to serve other people, you need to learn. It's not just a title given to you. So I kind of decided that that's the moment that I would learn. And over the course of my career, I'm fortunate to have the opportunity to gain more responsibility, and that would meant to lead more people. And halfway through my journey, I think at 10 years into my journey, I realized that I don't have everything I needed to be a better leader. So I decided to apply at Seton Hall for my second grad school to study Master of Arts in Strategic Communication and Leadership because I want to grow myself as a leader so I can better serve other people. I believe that in order for me to have the opportunity to serve other people, I need to grow myself. If I don't grow myself, I can't pour from an empty cup.
Well, before you keep going, first of all, thank you for saying that. And I keep hearing the influence of your father in everything that you're saying. How can I better serve people? And I don't think a lot of leaders think like I'm here to help serve people. And I love that. And also the willingness to grow and learn and evolve. So thank you for that.
It's actually interesting as I realize what leadership is about, and I reflect on the moment I spent with my father, and I said, "Wow, that's where I learned it from."
Yes.
In fact, I actually, wrote that in my book that I released in December that I learned leadership from my dad. I didn't realize that I was learning leadership.
Oh, you
I
had a
was just
living
observing.
example. And what's your book name while we're at it?
Seeds of Leadership. That was the book I released last year. Very fortunate to be able to release the book and very thankful. And I highlight a lot of the story that I learned throughout my journey on the book and how thinking about wanting to serve others is the starting point of being a leader. It's not just having the title. It's not about getting the opportunity or being thrust into a position that you're a leader. You need to ask yourself, do I want to be a leader? Because it takes a lot to be a leader. It takes a lot to be a leader because not only do you need to grow yourself, you need to be willing to serve others. They don't work for you. I always tell people when I introduce folks that are working on my team, it's they work with me. You
Yes.
hear a lot of hear a lot of managers like, oh, this person report to me, that person. They go on a conference room and like, yeah, they report to me. I said they work with me. They
So
work with
you're a
me.
team.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you're there to help them grow and develop. You're there not for them to make things easier for you. You're actually there to help them achieve their potential. At the same time, help the company achieve its goal. It's
So you
very
have
hard.
a few things in mind. How do you
Yeah.
care about them, develop them while you're developing yourself to serve the organization? So those are a lot of things to consider as a position of management. It's many different hats at the same time.
Yes.
What are some of the key ways you feel like you grew and developed doing that master's program and growing in your leadership?
I think it's practicing what I learned. And a lot of times we get an opportunity to learn something, but if we don't practice and apply it, it just dissipates into thin air after a few months. We forget about it. I focus a lot on I learned this, I want to implement it. And I want people who work with me to also learn it. And as they learn it, I want to hold them accountable for it so they could then pass it along to the other people that report to them.
I was going to say, what was one key thing that you put into practice that you wanted to have a legacy with?
To me, is helping people with their career development. That's one thing that's really important to me. Every person on my team that, especially those that are eager to get promoted, we have a career development plan. We have what I call the 2-year plan to get them promoted or qualified to get promoted. So in the department that I was in, I created that plan. Before I joined that department, one or two people get promoted out of a group of like 400 people a year. And I find that to be not right. It's not right that out of 400 people, only one or two get promoted.
Hmm.
And when I joined the group, I made it my job to focus on finding talent and
Nice.
finding opportunity to grow people, giving them opportunity to do things while supporting them so they're not sinking and swimming by themselves, and creating those experiments with them so this way they gain all this muscle memory. And over
Nice.
time, I think after the first year, we put 12 people up for promotion and we got 8. The next year we put another 12 people up promotion, we got 10. There's one year we put 15 people up promotion, we got 14. And a lot of the people that are working with me, they started to learn how to do it. Even I left the company for over a year and a half now. A lot of them still call me and they tell me like, we're doing the promotion cycle and we've been implementing what you did. And they work in different departments, they work in different groups, but they carry that behavior and that passion for people. And that's what I love. And when I hear that from them, it warms my heart because they learned about caring about people, not just doing your job. I know it's hard to do your job, but it's also equally hard to care about people. But it's very worthwhile to do that because you'll get people who are committed to get the work done. And I hear that a lot from my business partner. They would call someone on a Friday. We have an emergency. I need you to test this. and the person would say, okay, how do you want me to help you? Instead of, oh, I'm busy this weekend, I can't do it. And the business partner would tell me on Monday, when I found out someone helped, I would call them on weekends and say, thank you very much for, you know, doing your best and stepping out of your comfort zone to help the business partner. I appreciate it. But then when I meet the business partner, they were like, your people are just so committed. I'm blown away. I asked for help and they helped me without giving me excuses. And I asked a couple of them why they did it, because they said that we always talk about why it's important to help our client, that we're here to help our client. And because we talk about that, our mission and vision and why it's important to help our client and help our people, it becomes sort of part of their DNA.
That's beautiful. I love that. Will, you've mentioned to me that you believe everybody has agency to be self-determining, no matter what their histories are, no matter what their influences are, no matter what society says or parents say. Will you talk a little bit about that for human beings as leaders?
To me, my journey to get to that point was a bit longer than I expected. Growing up, I wait for my parents to say, "You could do it. You're capable of doing it. You can't do that." And I listened to them the entire time, even up to my college years. And then I started to realize that what if I just try to do something, especially as a young adult? I said, okay, I'm working in this company right now. I want to do something. I want to try something. Why don't I just try it? Why don't I experiment and see what it's like? And by doing that, I start to discover that I have the ability to do it. I have the determination to do it. And of course, not every single endeavor you put in is going to work. The reality is that those things that doesn't work become part of your experience. So you're not learning, you're not starting from the start, you're starting from experience. And that experience allows you to keep moving forward. And also, the biggest part that I realized over time was building confidence. As I started to do things on my own and starting to try, I built confidence and I'm able to help other people. So to me, I realized then that you have within you what it takes to get things done. You first need to believe in yourself, because for so long, I didn't believe in myself. I'm afraid. My parents always said, you're going to fail. So the first thing I think of something is, I don't want to fail. And that hold me back. And I realized that if I change my perspective, I I I pivot to a different direction, change my mindset, it
Yes.
opens a whole new avenue that I never saw before.
I love that, Will, so much. I think, uh, and you said something that was really interesting. uh, To shift your mindset is very, very important, and you were willing to experiment. Will you talk about what it means to have failures within experimentation?
I realized that early on, if I would believe that I'll succeed every single time, that's not a reality. That's not reality, because even the most successful people, I learned they all make mistake and they fail. Even the top business person, uh, I think they all fail. Even the top athlete, they all have failed. Therefore, I just program it to myself that failure is equity to success, and I always tell people that failure is equity to success, as long as it's a calculated risk, not
Right,
not a reckless risk, right? Just
right.
want to go out and do something and end up hurting people. You need to make sure what you're trying to do to grow yourself is not it's taking risk that's calculated and you're not hurting people.
And then when the mistake does happen or the failure does happen, it's an opportunity to learn and grow, not to be self-punishing. I think mistakes only become a problem when we don't learn from them and we just keep repeating them over and over again. Then it's something other than a mistake or a failure. It's a something else. I don't know what.
And one of the mentor that I believed in for so long is John Maxwell. He said, when you don't pause after the mistake and learn from your mistake, you'll repeat it again.
Exactly. And
And
that's
I
when it's
always
an
hear,
issue, right? You're not the mistake itself, for sure.
yeah. And people always said history make mistakes, right? Repeat itself. History never repeats itself. Human repeats it. Human
That's
repeats the
right.
history because
Human,
human didn't take the
yes.
time to pause. Human didn't take the time to pause and learn. So therefore, we repeat the same mistake again. It says history repeats itself. It never repeats. It's human.
I
We're the
love
one.
that. That's so
We're the one
true.
responsible for it.
We're the ones taking action. We're making the
Yes, yes.
history. History doesn't happen without us. So we're
Or
designing it, right? So
or,
very,
or, or we're the one who decide not to take action. And I also said to someone in the
yes.
past that by not taking action, that's also a decision. And
Yes,
they're
that's
like,
right.
no, that's not. I said, no, it is. Because you chose not to act on it.
That's absolutely right. As someone that has an accent, did that ever become an issue with you as a leader, and what has been challenging about it and what has been liberating about it?
I think early in my career, it did really affect me when people said, oh, you have an accent. Oh, I can't understand you properly. And sometimes it then end up causing me to struggle to even pronounce the word because I get like nervous. And over the course of a year, I focused on trying to pronounce things properly. But one thing I didn't do is change my accent because I felt like that's what made me unique. That's what
Yes.
makes me who I am. And that's why I said I would learn how to pronounce your words better. I would learn how to learn the culture, but I won't change my accent because that's who I am. Unless I want to be a voiceover. If that's the career that I want to get into, then maybe I would learn how to change my accent. And therefore, I didn't put any effort. I was given feedback that I had accent. I was given feedback to do training, but I never take that up because I said to myself, if I do that, then I'm not myself anymore. I said, if my career is only capable of going to a certain level because of who I am, I'm I'm okay with that. There are certain things I'm not willing to do to move up. I'm not willing to drink with people. I'm not willing to smoke with people.
So
And
you
there are
don't
things
drink
like that.
alcohol or smoke cigarettes?
Very, very few, very few, very few. And then I did it for social reason before, but I said I don't want it. Like I never really go out every Thursday or Friday because in a lot and I know that's a social thing in your career. And I said to myself, there are things that are negotiable, there are things non-negotiable. And smoking, drinking alcohol, they're non-negotiable. And so if that means I'm only getting to a certain level, so be it.
It's interesting to listen to you, Will, that your dignity mattered more to you than your positionality. And I think that's something that every human being has to wrestle with. Am I going to abandon myself in order to have a position? Or am I going to stay true to myself and see what position I end up in? But there's something about you aligning with your own dignity that became compelling for you as a leader. And I want people to hear that today. Not abandoning yourself to try to position yourself is going to cost you in the end. And you have to live with yourself at the end of each day. And do you want to be congruent with yourself, or do you want to have abandoned yourself? So thank you so much for speaking into that. I think that's a powerful, powerful distinction for everyone to consider as a leader.
It's hard. It's really hard when you're making those decisions and you know there's certain opportunity that might not come your way because of that, but you have to stick with what you believe in because that's who you are at the end of the day.
Right. And you have to go to bed with yourself every night. And are you going to
Yes,
be peaceful inside yourself? Or are you going to be disconnected and out of harmony with yourself?
I love the last point you said, out of harmony with yourself. I love that part.
Right. So I think we all have to make those considerations. I always think about, we're all going to die. And this is and your position isn't going to matter anymore, like when you take your
Yes.
last breath, you don't care about the title of your position. So what are you living for? What does matter to you every step of the way? Well, if people and now so let's talk about because you're an entrepreneur now, right? You shifted out of the
Yes,
corporate
yes.
world. What made you do that, and what are you doing now?
It's actually a long time dream of mine. When I was working for my dad, we had a convenience store, so I knew what it's like to be a son of an owner of a small convenience store, and I always dreamed to be my own like boss. That was
Oh,
my pet peeve when I was young. When I was 5 years old, oh, so it must be so good to be a boss. That was like when you're young, and then I realized I couldn't afford to have my own business, so I said I have to work for someone else. And God blessing, I had a very successful career. But I always had this thing in me that I used to help people with coaching and do mastermind training. I said to myself, one day, what if I could do it? And then I met a couple of people that also have the same interest. And we decided to just join force. And the three of us joined force. We created a company called Kairos Elite Partnership. And what we focused on is three things. First, the first pillar that we worked on is helping people grow and develop and be confident in themselves. So we do that through coaching and leadership training. The second pillar that we focus on is organizational development. We help company with culture assessment, succession planning, change and transformation management. And then the third one is close and dear to my heart is technology. I'm doing AI strategy and AI readiness with company because AI is here to stay.
yes.
It's better to actually go out and speak to small business and medium-sized business when they don't have a big IT arms to actually help them to guide them through the journey because a lot of people are afraid. People throw a phrase like AI is going to take all of your job, and those are not entirely true. And to me, it's important to go out and help them understand what is AI, how could you use AI, and where can you use AI?
To benefit your business. I know
Yeah.
somebody that I'm coaching is looking at what are the strategies they can use to free up some of their employees' time to leverage what is important for them to leverage. And so I think there is a partnership with it without replacing people. And I really hope the listeners have heard this from Will. And if you need help with your organization, get Will on board because I think to be a strategic thought partner just sounds absolutely wonderful and life
Yes.
giving. So thank you for that. Will, one of the questions I like to ask people that are my guests is what do you think the purpose for life is?
I think the purpose for life is to help one another. I strongly believe in that. That's why I spend a lot of my time helping people whenever they have problems, even when I have my own problems. I don't say to myself, oh, I have this problem. I just need to solve and just figure it out myself. And when people reach out to me, I won't even give them time. I still give a lot of people my time. In fact, sometimes my wife says you give people so much of your time and you end up exhausted and tired. Because I believe it, the reason why we're in this world is to help each other, you know, accomplish something. No
Wow.
matter what you could do to help someone either get through a bad day or find a new opportunity or refer someone that you believe in, right? Do that. And I'm always time and time again, I extend my help the best I could.
What do you do to restore yourself and take care of yourself?
Exercising, gratitude prayer in the morning. I have micro habits that I do every morning. I want to share with you. I start my morning with gratitude prayer, thanking God for the gift of new day, and then I fix my bed. A fixed bed is the best bed to go to at night when you have a bad day. You still have a fixed bed. Your bed is clean and nice. And then I drink a glass of water, and after that I exercise for 30 minutes. So I've been doing that for almost 3 years every day. And I think it's important to invest in yourself because you cannot pour from an empty cup. There are days where I felt exhausted and tired, and I would tell people I couldn't be available right now, but I'd be available tomorrow. And if you don't mind, I will be there for you tomorrow. If it's not super urgent, I'll be there. And I've done that because I know that if I overextend myself, I won't be able to be there for them, like wholly to be there. And that's why going to bed at night, to sleep at night, sleeping, taking care of myself, and exercising extremely important because I know without your help, you can't be there for people.
Well, one thing I really hope listeners are hearing right now is to know when you don't have it inside you. Just because you have a mission of wanting to be there for people doesn't mean you sacrifice yourself to be there. There's a point at which you have to say, I have to fill my cup, or, maybe wait before learn before your cup is that empty to pause. I mean, I think sometimes our culture, uh, uh, promotes burnout or promotes
Yeah.
exhaustion, and I think it's important for all of us to get more sensitive to when are we starting to feel tired, and when can we pause sooner, like, and still care about people. And I think those are some of the things, especially in today's pressure. Forbes has an article that says 66% of the workforce experiences burnout. So that
So,
becomes a norm instead of, like,
yeah.
what self-care needs to be a norm so you're sustainable and you have more to give when you have self-care. And I'm really appreciative that you have deliberate practices in the morning. Um, and it sounds like you're a faith-based person. Is that true?
Yeah, it is important. I think he gave up his life for me to be here. I think that's no secret. So I think I need to do the best I could to honor him. That's what I believe in. So if I could do something good for someone, I would do it.
I, I love that.
We weren't here, and when I was young, I think my parents always said I'm not good, I'm not smart, and I'm not going to amount to anything. And I almost believed in that for the longest time. And then as you read the Bible, every person that God made, there's a purpose. There's a purpose for that person. And when I found that, I said, I know my parents don't believe in me, but I was made with a purpose. I need to find that purpose.
Beautiful.
And when I found that purpose, it becomes something that I chase, helping people grow,
I love
giving a
that.
lending hand if I could. And I think if every single one of us do that, the world will be a better place. We won't be
Absolutely.
filled with hatred. I think right now the world is filled with hatred. If we could only fill with love every
Yeah.
single day, try a little bit. It's not going to be a magic movement that everyone go outside and change the world. Just flip hate to love.
Yeah.
If you're feeling angry about someone, try to think that you love them and have a sympathy or empathy to understand. And if we don't, and one thing I always tell people, even yesterday I was talking to someone, we could agree to disagree. It's okay. That's what the beauty
We
of
can
this.
agree to disagree with
Yeah,
we share dignity.
yeah. We share
So,
the view. Let we share the view and don't judge. I think the world become harder and harder because we tend to judge people.
yeah, it's
If you
alienating.
don't, let's hear each other out and let's say, I don't agree with you, but let's agree to disagree
Yeah.
and move on.
So, Will, can you let our listeners know how to get a hold of you and how to get your book?
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm the only Will Lukang. The other two Lukang are my daughter. my two daughters are on LinkedIn. My book is My Seeds of Leadership. It's on Amazon. You can find it on Amazon. Glory to God for the blessing. Won 16 awards so far. I'm blown away. I don't know what to say. Really, really blown away. And this book coming out next Wednesday, October 8th. It's a product of helping one another that this book came about. I'm a podcast host and producer. I People come to me and they become my guests, and then I created an event called Career Breakthrough, a webinar, and I invited them to speak at my event. After the event, I was thanking them and I asked them, "What's on your bucket list?" And three of them said, "I always want to be an author, but I don't have enough material to be an author." So I said, "Okay, we're writing a book. Here's the book."
Nice.
We cover six important topics. Career mastery. I wrote it. We covered emotional intelligence. No one really talk about it. Hiba Tanvir from Texas. We covered stress management. Donia Smaida from Tunisia wrote it. We covered networking. Joel Vanderchan from Switzerland wrote it. We covered public speaking. Uh, Neha Deshpande from India wrote it, and then we covered leadership, written by Eric E. Ebron. So we covered 6 very important topics that other books are not covering. And we produced this book, that our labor of love, that's going out next Wednesday. So I think it's going to be relevant to a lot of people in their career. Our avatar are people who are starting their career, people who are in middle in their career, and people who are trying to break through in their career.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. Well, I'm so excited that our listeners are getting to hear from you. Remember to find Will Lukang on LinkedIn and go to Amazon for his books. We're signing off for today. This is the Purpose for Life podcast. I'm Suzanne Roberts, your host. And next Wednesday, we will have Wisdom Wednesday. So come listen in then and have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Will.
Thank you. Thank you, Stan, for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.